Hello. Yes, we are back on. Hopefully we've got all the sound and everything set up because we're going to destroy all of that soon. Right, tonight is episode 73 of the Code Zone, and it's a special episode because I'm going to play with a new tool. This has been created by a reasonably prominent member of our community, Morris, and he's in the chat right now. Hello, Morris. Everybody say hello to Morris, please. We're going to play with this tool that he has created, PGEtinker, and I thought we'll just try coding something from scratch in it as part of the whole episode. Let's get to learn what's going on. Thank you, Standard Int is here. Let's actually see who's in the chat. That's tradition, isn't it? We've got Morris, Megetsub, Standard Int, Bixie, Dragoneye. That's it for now. Everybody else is lurking. Okay. So, yes, what is this all about? Well, this is a bit of a soft launch for Morris and his technology, because hopefully over the course of this evening we might get a few of you sort of trying this out. If you are familiar with things like IDE1 or Godbolt or other sort of code development tools that you can use on the browser, you can then create some code and you can share it with your friends as an example. Well, Morris has gone away and created PGEtinker.com. Let's drop some links in the chat. PGEtinker.com. There we go. And you can head over to there straight away and start playing with it. And tonight I'll have a look at some of the features. I've not used it as much as perhaps I should have done, but I have had a quick dabble about with it, and I feed back a few things to Morris. I will make a full YouTube video about using something like this in the near future too. So this is sort of a let's get a few people using it simultaneously stream and see what happens. I might also invite Morris onto the stream actually and have a chat with him about how he's gone about developing it and some of the features, because it's web, right? And I don't know anything about web. But what we can see on the left, you have code, and it looks very similar to Pixel Game Engine code because it is Pixel Game Engine code. We can see at the top. It's including the header file. It looks like a nice convenient editor. One of the things I would suggest when you're streaming these sort of things is firstly zoom in a little bit. This was a feature I requested. Thank you very much, Morris. Very useful for streaming. But the other thing I would suggest is right click and go onto command palette straight away. And somehow type in Word here and toggle Word Wrap. There we go. Particularly if you want to keep things on the screen at the same time. I don't know what technology Morris is using behind the scenes. He can answer those sort of questions later on whilst I'm fumbling about trying to implement a small application. So, with that in mind, I thought tonight, well, exactly, go and take that code RHK77, bang it into PGEtinker and see what happens. Control 0 to reset zoom. Okay, I mean, I kind of just know. Right? The zoom I like there. But good, it's good that it works. I've also moved some of the windows around just to put build information here so it's not covered up by the chat. We'll see what happens as we go on. Now, I have got some suggestions. Some of them I'll talk to Morris privately about because I think there's some good ideas that could be flushed out. But I'm sure during the night, no doubt we will get frustrated at something and we can shout at Morris in real time. This is always exciting. And I have some tea as well. So, yes, we've not done a bit of a code zone for a while. That's just general life getting in the way. Remember in the last code zone I mentioned I was launching a product in Korea. Well, that has happened. It was a reasonably successful launch. So, I've been a little bit busy sorting that out. But nonetheless, we're here now. This is all good. Right, let's start. So what am I going to do to sort of test this? Oh, I didn't press the play button, did I? That's the most exciting bit. At the top here, you have a run button. And if you click run, it compiles on the server. And there you go. There is your Pixel Game Engine application running in real time on the right. Very nice. Yeah, it is good. It is good. It's quite nippy and responsive. And I know that Morris has gone some way to keeping it secure and somewhat reasonably private too. So it doesn't really ask anything of you to take part of it. And the idea is once you've created your little program, you can go and click share, and you can share that then on a forum or the Discord or wherever you want. And it's just a nice way of sharing your ideas. And good, thank you, Morris, for adding the stop button. That just stops things being a little bit annoying, particularly if they're moving around whilst you're trying to code. There's a couple of subtle differences between sort of a vanilla app created in Pixel Game Engine and this. primarily we're not really working with multiple files, and I don't think that's the intention. It's not a project manager for these things. But the other thing is sort of loading up resources. This is how Morris is approaching it right now, is that of course the resource has to exist somewhere on the web for it to find, and it's got to go and load it in the background, that sort of thing, until you're ready to use it. Tonight, to try and avoid that, I'm not going to be loading any resources. Alex, hello. Channel, hello. Good. So, Twitch is again telling me that my thing is unstable and the bitrate is too low, but I think it's okay. It's just actually said welcome to the chat room, so I'm hoping we've not sort of lost any stream there. So let's get going. I'm going to just tidy up my little bit of code. Presumably, I'm not going to need that tonight, so let's get rid of that today. And I'm just going to, to keep some of the clutter down, get rid of some of the comments that are in here too. I'm not going to be loading any files, so I don't need those. So I don't need, in fact, Morris, all of this default I don't need. I'm going to get rid of it. There we go. Random color, don't need. I'll keep the same size. Why not? That looks nice. Now, what I thought we would try and do is recreate, have you seen these popular, well, it was popular back in mobile phone sort of early days, a game where you'd use the tilt sensor or the keys on your phone to manipulate a ball falling from the top of the screen through lots of gates. It's kind of like Flappy Bird, but with gravity working behind the bird instead of from above. I just thought it would be a nice, simple way to explore some of the features and see what tools and things we've got available to us on here. So that's a very simple application. Hopefully we'll get it done in an hour and a half, something like that. I have no sort of notes from it. It was an idea I came up with literally 10 minutes before the stream. Something simple to have a go at doing. So I will call it Fall, because I don't know if that's the name of somebody else's application, but we'll keep it that. I don't think that makes any difference to the PGEtinker thing, but we'll run it anyway. Doodle jump. Doodle jump isn't that the other way round, right? You got to jump up platforms. This one is you're falling through holes, but the screen moves faster and faster. So congratulations, Morris, on successfully launching this, getting ready. I know you set yourself a personal deadline. Let's get around with playing with it. So I'll just run that. It should just be a black screen, I'm hoping, running as fast as possible. There we go. Good. Let's see what the experience is like. Now, hopefully a few of you might want to sort of play along at home or whilst watching the stream, that sort of thing. I will ask one of the mods to occasionally just keep posting the PGEtinker link in the chat, and that way people can find this application and have a go for themselves. And if you are creating something with PGEtinker, please do share the thing in the Twitch chat. Why not code along, or why not code simultaneously? Some little demonstration application. This is really about sort of helping Morris work with multiple people using this all at the same time. And maybe we'll get a few, because we'll have a few viewers on the stream tonight, but not too many. So it's a nice sort of gentle way into it. Is there an FPS counter somewhere? Well, I guess we can kind of add one, but I think Emscripten runs at the browser's FPS, which is sort of 60 frames. We can test that. Let's test that straight away. Draw. Oh, excuse me. Draw string. Right, so these are all sort of the tool tips and things that pop up. I'm going to have to get used to all of the colours and just make sure these things don't get in the way. But let's put that 0, 0, and we can do standard to string get FPS. There we are. Is it there? It's putting lots of brackets in. Is that right, or is that just me? And we'll do that in, for now, OLC yellow. I'm not going to scale it. Now, word wrap is something I've just enabled for those late to the game today. I don't often code with word wrap enabled, so if I don't like it, I'm going to disable it. But it's just to keep all the code sort of visible on the screen, since I don't have any control over it. So let's just see what happens if we do run that. Because we didn't clear the screen. So this is nice. So you can actually start to sort of clear things in real time. Clear. Oh, we'll see. Well, we'll clear to the colour that we're actually going to use today, which I think will be cyan to indicate a scale. Why are all these brackets appearing, Morris? So these are the sort of problems and things that we users. What's going on there? I don't know. That seems okay. It just seems to add a load of brackets in. Don't like that. So hope you're taking notes. We'll have to stop that and run again. Good. Yeah, known bug. I'm sure we'll accumulate some of those tonight. There we are. So 60 frames per second, which is kind of what we said it would be. It's Bill Gates' fault. Of course it is, Mackenzie. Herbal Dance, hello. Just trying to Stack Overflow the C++ parser. Yeah, see, this is the thing. I'm going to be coding something, and then somebody will actually crash it, and then it stops for everybody, so we'll see what happens. Make the FPS counter blue. So you want me to make this slightly darker? Okay, let's do this. That's very dark blue then. Oh, that's nice. Oh, it popped up also in one go. That's nice. Okay. That makes up for the dodgy bracket additions. There we go. No, that's better. I agree. That's a little bit better. Right. So the game I'm going to pitch is sort of this thing where you're falling. So we're going to have to come up with some platforms which move up the screen, and you control a ball, and all you've got is left and right to move the ball through holes that are going to be in these platforms. I was planning on using the there's a string up here. I was planning on using the utility geometry library. So let's have a go at including something. So hash include. What will it be? It'll be utils. Don't like what that STL pixels is doing in there. Phew, rubbish. Utils. The utility library is not here, is it not? Utility is that one? Should just be. Is it that utils? OLC thingy, geometry 2D. There we go. We got there in the end. Did I call it utilities? I'm sure I called it utils. Never mind. I don't need to actually include anything else in that. Hopefully the compiler will set it all up in the background. Turbo Pascal, exactly. Thank you, RHK77. In fact, we can make it actually look really Turbo Pascal-y by testing the decal version of the string, and after we've set the color, we can set the scale to 1.0, 2.0. Put some Fs in there so it doesn't complain at me. Now it should look even more Turbo Pascal-y. Oh, well, we got an error. This first one, compile failed. What does it say? Error. OSA must be included before pixelgameengine.h. Indeed, it must, actually. That was my own fault. So let's stick that up here. That's because the Geometry 2D library overwrites bits of the pixel game engine. Let's try that. Oh, linker error, undefined symbol, draw string decal. Uh-oh, live. What's going on? PGEtinker, undefined symbol. It must be this function I've used is not actually the right way of using this function. String, pixel color, and scale. It should be, I think. That get a full. Oh, the tooltips are moving around. So we've got the position. Oh, maybe it doesn't like that. Have you got this sort of set to a really high warning level? Oh, it still didn't like that. See, this is going to be exciting tonight, isn't it? It's a good job I've picked a nice simple application for us to try and debug. Okay, whatever this window is with the build information, Morris, it needs to go multi-line. Is that something I can set? No, can't set that. Just for when these sort of things happen. See, linker errors worry me a bit because there's nothing I can do about them. Put it in the include before the macro. Like that? Oh. Okay. Well, we'll have a think about that one later on. Okay. I don't think that should do anything. Is this utility sensitive to PGE application? That's on me. It's on me. Why is the what's in there that's sensitive to that? I'll have to have a look at that later. Okie doke. Let's continue. Fine, it's on me then. I'll take the book for that. So good job you're not live on air yet, Morris. I know you'll be swearing at me already. Okay, so we've got some sort of numbers on the screen. Let's start by coming up with some way of having holes in ledges going down the screen. Let's start with, we're going to have basically, I guess, a circular queue, because I'm not going to have, it's going to be infinitely long, right? So we just want to keep reusing something as it's going off the screen. So let's create a small structure called a level, perhaps, or a platform. Oh, hang on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on? Where's all this come from? Platform. Next. Oh, that's annoying. This is going to be slow, isn't it? Platform. Platform. I just want to enter the word platform. Right. Okay. Right. Oh dear. Yeah, that's that needs add that to the list. Give that a priority 1. That one, Morris. That's slow me down. Something rotten. That. There was that. That's the same as VS Code, isn't it? VS Code does exactly the same thing, and I found that very annoying. But there was a simple flag, so I wonder if it's actually is it something that's actually already built in? Can I just disable sort of the tooltips? Tips, disable, auto complete. Just want to get rid of it. Doesn't look like it. Give up, accept the auto completion. Thank you, Bearded Vortex. Yeah, the auto completion. Well, we may need to streamline that a little bit. Okay, so I want to add OLC VF2. What are we doing here? So the platform's going to have basically a hole in it, so it's always going to have a hole in it. Let's just put this as an integer for the size of the hole and its position. So we'll have int size. Hang on. Float. Position on screen. How am I going to do this? I want to sort of have the strata. I want the whole lot to move up, so I'm going to store some sort of offset whilst I'm propagating through these. So I probably don't actually need that, but I do need the position in the array. I wasn't planning on having the sort of interspacing distance between the platforms change, but maybe that's something we do want later on. So yeah, okay. Actually, all I want then is where the hole begins. F hole pos, and probably the size of the hole. And we'll do everything in screen coordinates for the time being. So let's keep that, I don't, relatively large for the time being. Hole position and hole size. If you don't want to accept a suggestion, hit escape. Hey, Johnny G's here. Good. Speedy, hello. Yes. We're experimenting with PGEtinker tonight, everybody. So this is, you can go and have a go. If you do create anything interesting, share it. Post the link in the chat. If Twitch sanitizes it, I'm sure one of the mods will just let it go. This seems to have gone in a different number of tabs. What is the default tab? That one's fine. That one's gone in as spaces. Interesting. Right, so we're going to have a bunch of platforms. I'll store those in a standard vector of platform, but we're... Ooh, double brackets have come up. Platform. We'll store these in a vector of platforms. And at any one time, I think we're only going to have sort of 7 or 8 platforms in existence. Once one's gone off the top of the screen, we may as well generate something along the bottom. Position is an integer. Yeah, it's basically it's going to be a line across the screen with a hole in it, and then it's going to continue on the other end. So that's where we're going to start. I may as well populate. We'll create platform. Create a function called create platform. We'll just, they're so simple and this is so crude today. I'm just going to return the whole platform. Generate platform and oh good, okay. Return. What are we going to do? Return a It's only got 2 things in it, which is where the whole pos is at the start. So I'm guessing that's going to be a random number. Float rand. Oh, why have 2 brackets popped up? Okay. Float rand divided. Oh no, rand mod. Yeah, rand mod screen width. Oh, 2 brackets again. Take those away. Yeah, Morris, these features are difficult. I would remove them. Spent sort of the last 3 weeks adding all of these features. They seem to be a bit aggressive in trying to sort of help us out here. So I want to, yes, random float of screen width, but of course we want to leave some room for the whole. So perhaps we want a float. We'll have int. What did I read it float, didn't I? Float up there, but we'll have int just to keep this simple. For now, we'll keep this actually fixed. We'll play about with that later on, because I might want to generate these to sort of get smaller and narrower, as well as have some sort of constraint on where the hole is placed. But let's just get them scrolling up the screen to begin with. So I'm returning a float of that's screen width minus n hole width. Actually want to do mod of all of that, don't I? Because there's no point in going beyond the edge of the screen. I don't mind if the hole goes right up to the edge. Okay, and this one was just simply float n hole width. Yeah, reading as I type is not me at all. Okay. Okay, generate platform. Good. So let's generate some platforms. Let's have, we'll always have 10 platforms. So for int, for int I equals 0. I just don't like all of this sort of hint garbage at all. I want a big checkbox at the top, Morris. Just disable all of this fancy stuff. Int I is less than 10. I plus plus. It wasn't here the other day. I was playing around with it. I'll get rid of those. So what are we doing? Generate platform. So vec platforms dot pushback. Double brackets again. Generate platform. It's amazing how much it throws you when something auto completes like that. They are not a bug, it's a design feature. Is this how the young kids want to code these days? So there's quite a few people here. That's good. It's actually a fantastic tool. Don't let my sort of grumblings put you off. I think this is a fantastic step in the right direction. Morris has created this tool, PGEtinker. Please go and have a go. It's at PGEtinker.com. Allows you to create live, in real time, pixel game applications. And basically C++ applications too. It's got a console if you want to use those things too. The player is still running, with nothing particularly interesting going on. I can stop it now. I should also point out that if you do choose to support or anything like that, it doesn't go to me, and that is good. It goes to the developer. It goes to supporting this back end. As you can imagine, there's a lot of server stuff needed to go on here, and that ain't free. So any sort of small donations are welcome, and I believe there is some perks for being a supporter. If there aren't sort of any sort of visible coding perks, Morris does send you pictures in private too. So if you fancy some of that, you can make some donations. We've generated 10 platforms. Let's try and draw these platforms now. I'm going to keep the frames per second thing right at the bottom. Why not? That might be useful. But let's draw these platforms, and we're going to space them out with some sort of spacing. So spacing for the time being, we'll just have it fixed. We'll have it fixed just so we can see all of these platforms at a reasonably close distance. This is working as it should. I'm using it incorrectly. What you mean? the things I'm typing in are invalid according to the autocomplete. What a world we live in. AI, everybody, AI. So, got some space. Let's go and iterate through all of the plugins. I'm just going to go through all of them, and we'll have some sort of offset as well, which will, well, we probably need to store that up here, don't we? So, as you can tell, I'm making this up as we go along. The offset will be how far we've travelled. I'm just going to call it F offset for the time being. F offset, and because you get to say F off quite a bit. F offset is going to increment with a F elapsed time. We'll worry about that in a minute. Let's just get it to actually draw something. I'm going to do a 4. Oh, here we go again. 4. Then get rid of all of that and all of that, and just redo the brackets and do that bit. Okay. Oh, and get rid of that one. Okay. So 4. I do want to actually have the numeric order for this as well, so I'm not going to use a little auto for loop. I'm going to do it manually. Int I equals 0, I is less than vec platforms dot size I plus plus. Oh, I plus plus. And from there, we're going to just draw them in accordance to the offset. Now this gets interesting because we sort of want to scroll through them in a circular way. So maybe we want to update these whilst we're drawing them. It's a bit of a hack to do it this way, but let's see what happens. So we'll just do the draw. Draw. Oh, yeah, we'll use draw rect for the time being. We'll make it all a bit wireframe until we can see what's going on. Draw rect. Yeah. Let's make like come out of the tooltip. Auto. Let's just get the platform for the time being. Platform equals vec platforms I. It didn't add 2 lots of square brackets. Draw rect. Now we know that the platform is related to I plus our offset. But as we're scrolling through, at some point the ordering of the vector has to change, or the starting platform has to change. So I think we want to keep a track of the starting platform. So vec platforms n starting platform plus I, and it's all of that, I guess, mod vec platforms dot size and double brackets. So this is going to select a platform as we're going through it. Doesn't matter where I start. Hopefully the platform should sort of loop around within this array. So as a platform goes out of scope, we can just create a new one. Well, right, we'll get there. We'll get there. So drawing a rect now at that platform's position multiplied by spacing. So our position to start drawing would be 0. Nice, that one's easy enough. And 0.0. F. And this one would be f spacing multiplied by I want to say, plus f offset. Right, okay, and we're going to draw that to the, where's the tooltip gone? The tooltip's kind of been cut off there. We want to draw that to where the hole begins. So the size of this will then be the platform dot hole pos. So that's 1/2 of the platform. Okay, let's throw in a color as well. We'll see. We'll just call it white for the time, which I know is the default one. Draw rect, what is this? Draw rect clang, no viable member function, candidate function, no conversion from float. No, okay. VF2D. Oh, did it get rid of that for me? There we are. Oh, we'll stick this in curly brackets. It's not inserted multiple curly brackets this time. There we go. What have I forgot now? Float, candidate function, no conversion from float to const. Is it? Oh, it's because this is not 2D, isn't it? Platform, hold up, pause, and we'll set the size to, I don't know, 10 pixels. Oh, it's one of these really fiddly compilers, and it's going to be bitching about casting like all the time. Okay. Right, let's just see. What have we got there? Okay, so we have got sort of 10 platforms with different lengths. Now we want to draw the opposing halves. Good. Let me just catch up with the chat for a second. Okay, the chat is going on about the AI. Welcome to C++20. Can you toggle full screen on Chrome with F11 or F10? If you just want to edit, hit the max button top corner of the editor panel. This one. Well, I don't want it to sort of get rid of what's going on the right-hand side of the screen either. But I do need to add sort of a corresponding draw rect to this now. So I'm going to take this bit of code and place this one here. So this is now platform whole pos plus platform dot whole size in the X. Y is exactly the same, and this time our size is, oh dear, float screen width minus platform dot f whole size. F whole size. So that has that lined up, or have I got? I've missed a bracket somewhere. There. Okay, so hopefully stop that and rerun it. Okay, so we've now got these. Oh, Londo, hello, thank you. Yes, sorry, Londo. Yeah, apologies for my tardiness as well, because it's been a while since we've done a CodeZone. But tonight we're playing with this new tool, PGEtinker, which allows you to create pixel game engine applications directly in your browser. You have no need to fuss with anything. And we're going to create a simple game tonight where we're going to control a ball that's falling down between all of these different platforms. Yeah, I'm not going to play around with going browser full screen. I'm sure all these things work, but for the time, we just keep it looking like a browser. So I've drawn the two. There's a space appeared here, Morris. Why has the tabbing put some magic in there? Okay. I like the fact that the color scheme represents sort of my normal Visual Studio color scheme. You know, it does make me feel somewhat at home, but I'm a bit not quite used to the autocorrect doing what it's doing. I don't know what you're typing. It doesn't matter what I'm typing. I don't know why it's lined everything up there. Anyway, okay. So we know that our spacing is far too close. What I want to sort of try and get working straight away is the scrolling feature of all of this. So now that we've got our sort of our offset working, let's update offset plus equals f elapsed time. I think we don't need a reset just yet. So this should scroll things. It's going to scroll them in the wrong direction, I think. Oh. Oh, no, it is working, and it's doing it 1 pixel at a time, 1 pixel approximately every second, which is okay, that's fine. So we know that we're going, firstly, in the wrong direction, and we want to multiply that by some factor to just go a little bit quicker. Let's try that. Okay, and now we want to regenerate platforms when they go out of view. Now, how am I going to work that out? So I think when the offset becomes larger than the spacing, we want to set our starting platform. We'll maybe get something like this. So if f offset, I'm just going to live with the double brackets, is greater than or equal to f spacing, Then also that's a statement. Why is it putting the word statement there? If the offset is greater than the spacing, it's like battling somebody else typing the code. Is it you, Morris? Are you sat at home typing these things in whilst I'm trying to get this worked out? I just want it to be a text editor. It's as simple as that. My fingers are doing the work, nothing else. If offset is greater than spacing, then I want to increase my starting platform, because that's also kind of going to be our score as well. So we'll increase that by 1, and then I'm going to subtract from the offset the spacing. Let's just see what order this is going to do things in, because I think we've got things running backwards and forwards and all sorts here. Okay, I'm going to display alongside the frame rate's not telling us anything useful, is it? So I'm just going to change that to our N starting platform. This gives us an indication which way we're running through the world. 0, 0, 0. Disappointingly not changing. Oh, because F offset is never going forwards, it's going backwards. So let's just set this the other way. Oh, this is getting very interesting, kind of inverting the problem. One, 2. Good, and you can see it's sort of cyclically scrolling through the platforms. Now it's repeating them at the moment. Which, yeah, this is a bit of banter between Morris. Morris and I are actually pretty good friends, so I think we both appreciate I think everybody watching appreciates the sheer amount of effort that's gone into making this project work. And to be quite honest, it has been 100% Morris. So, fair play. That seems to be working okay. It's still a bit slow, and the spacing is now far too pushed up. So if we set that to something a bit larger and set the speed to something like that, run. Should it be regenning based? Yeah, it's going to be regenning on, well, no, because I want the platforms to kind of look like this all the time. Annie, hey. So that's working quite nicely. Now what I want is when we increase the starting platform, it basically regenerates then the one that's disappeared, so the previous starting platform. Okay, that's working quite nicely. Let's leave that running. See, one of the nice things is when it's a nice thing like this, you can leave it running. Let's get it to try and regenerate a platform. So once we have increased the platform, the prior platform needs to be regenerated. So starting platform, don't need any of that, don't need any of that. Starting platform does actually continuously increase, doesn't it? So we do need those. Equals generate. Is going to pop up. Generate platform. Generate platform. I think that'll work. Difficult to prove. Let's set the thing back to 20, so at least we can start to see. We can see all of the platforms at once. So that one was up there. Okay, I think it has. I'm not seeing sort of the same one being repeated. Okay. Right. So let's put that back. I know 10 platforms is way too many, but it's just a nice number to have. And we'll set that spacing. 80 felt about right. We may need to play with the what's going on now. We may need to play with the screen resolutions a bit. So I thought about halfway through, it might be fun to give Morris a call. Morris, are you still up for being live to 82 viewers watching PGEtinker, by the way, which everybody needs to get on and give it a go, because Morris is also trying to monitor sort of the performance of the server as well. So let's see if this works. So we've not tried this before on the CodeZone, but we're going to have a guest. Let's see if I go over to Morris and give Morris a call and see what happens. Right. Hopefully Morris will answer the call in a minute.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Can we all hear Morris?
So, I had to mute the stream,
Yeah.
obviously.
Okay, good. All right. Good. Hey, a guest. So, hello, Morris. Welcome to the CodeZone.
Hello, happy to be here.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for creating PGEtinker. What a fantastic tool. And I know you've been working quite hard on it, and I do apologise for the frustrations I've shown with the autocorrect tonight. I'm sure we can work our way around those in the future. So, what was your motivation for getting on with PGEtinker?
Okay, so it goes back to when we were all talking in the what do we call it? The elders room, the
Yeah,
PGE elders room.
PGE Elders, that's
Um,
right.
and it was I'm gonna shout out I'm gonna name drop a couple people here because
Okay.
they deserve a lot of credit. Dandestein was actually the one that got pixels on the screen with Emscripten. And the second I saw him demoing his work, I had this flash in my brain. I'm like, okay, we totally have Godbolt, but PGE was the idea that flashed through my head. And I've been dreaming of this like ever since.
So I've got a request to make you a bit louder. There we go. Is that so? Yeah, I think my version of the history is a little bit different. I think I remember there was a very early, sort of very behind the scenes prototype of Inscripted, and then Dandestein went to town with it and took all the ideas, and I think he made it work with Pixel Game Engine 2 specifically. Although we might discover that later. And then we saw somebody do it in a jam, didn't we? They kind of hacked this together. And
if I recall, that was McGetsub who did that.
Right. Somebody hacked it together in a jam, and you're right. As soon as I saw Inscripten sort of running PG stuff in the browser, I thought, this is the only way people will submit things to jams and stuff. So it had legs, and that's why we devoted so much time and effort to getting the Inscripten version up and running.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and a lot of frustration. I remember trying to get the full screen handler to work properly, and like I know you have frustrations with web dev, and I share them.
you say that as being pretty much a professional web dev yourself, so
I mean, you can't hate something unless you know it.
How long do you reckon you've spent sort of developing this tool? And tell us about some of the technologies. Tell us how it works. And whilst you're doing that, I'm going to be programming in some very crude ball physics into the background.
Sure thing. I've been working on this on and off over the course of the last 3 years. I think it was early February of 2021 was when I had my first really rough prototype that I was sharing behind the scenes. I hit something of a brick wall in the previous iteration. Somebody very, very nicely pointed out just how easy it would be to run arbitrary code on my server.
I remember that. That was quite an exciting thing.
Yeah, and so because of that, I sort of stopped working on it publicly and started working more on the trying to figure out how do I allow people to effectively run arbitrary code in a server environment in a way that didn't involve exposing the server to potential attackers.
Yeah.
And that turned into about on and off again, like real life, all that sort of stuff. But over the course of like the next 2 years, experimentation and failure, lots of trial, lots more error. Eventually, I came up with a solution, and then it sort of breathed new life into the project, and I've been going full steam ever since. As far as the technology, the the code editor is VS Code. Like
Right.
it's it started out I was just using Monaco editor, which is which is the driving force behind VS Code, but that didn't allow me to connect it to a language server. So I had to actually start using the actual VS Code like APIs.
So you may just have to explain to myself and some of the people here, what is a language server?
Okay, a so LSP, language server protocol. It's a so I'm not really qualified to be the authority on the subject, but basically it's responsible for your hinting and your autocomplete and all of the things that you're complaining about earlier. um, um, ba- basically it's the provider for like your hints and your code completion and stuff like that. That's basically what it is,
Right.
without getting into like the nerdy details of it. Um, and so like technology. It uses Emscripten, obviously,
Right.
as the compiler. Behind the scenes, there's a container that has the application inside of it, and when you run the compiler, it runs within a contained environment, which is how we're able to do it without worrying about hackers. Uh, you can run as much arbitrary code as you want, and it's not going to affect anything for the next user, all that sort of stuff. It's
Oh, that sounds good.
pretty
Yeah.
cool. Um, the other thing, the other thing, the LSP actually has to use the compiler as well, because it sort of like runs the compile command over and over again and takes the information from the compiler and spits it back out at you.
Right.
So,
So there's lots of constant transactions happening then with your server. Whilst I'm typing code, there's all sorts of messages being sent back.
yeah, in fact, if you really wanted to, you could open up your dev tools and look at the WebSockets that
Right.
communicates with the LSP
Okay.
if you wanted to.
Right now, no, but
Yeah,
I'm sure some people do.
yeah, and it sends quite a bit of information. I'd say like you could probably I had a thought and I just lost it live with people watching.
it's,
This is
it's
great.
not as easy as it looks, is it?
Oh God, oh heavens no.
uh,
Um, I can't. And as far as everything, I use the same layout system that I took a lot of cues from Matt Godbolt, his project
yeah,
Compiler Explorer. I can't imagine any of your viewers don't know what Compiler Explorer is, but if you don't, here's the primer. It's basically a place you go to type in a bunch of code and see like the machine version of the compiled code. And I took a lot of cues from his compiler explorer in terms of how I was going to go about this, because I'm like, they got a code editor. What code editor do they use? What they've got a way of moving windows around. How does he do that? And you know, in many ways, I'm using a lot of the same technology that they use, just in different ways.
one of the things I'll say, you can always reach out to Godbolt. He's actually really accessible, and he'll be happy to talk about some of these things. And
Yeah,
he'd probably love to see sort of your implementation too.
yeah. I mean, I
No
yeah,
pressure, like you know.
I, I, I'm just not used to the suggestion that I talk to some like I sort of view Matt as sort of like a titan, like
Yeah,
he's
I know exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
like the notion that I'd be able to have a chat with him about something that I've done. Yeah.
Because I think
Um.
I think tools like this are sort of they are really the kind of the future of classroom learning if you want to be serious about it, and that's why I'm sort of motivated to get behind it and push it out there a little bit. Even
Yeah.
if it wasn't Pixel Game Engine, what it doesn't matter what it is. It's the right approach. It's just get going. Now I know your solution isn't necessarily a project manager, but by any means, but just getting some ideas on the screen and being able to perhaps submit them for marking in a classroom, that sort of thing is I think there's lots of potential behind this.
Yeah, well, one of the goals that I have is actually to be an educating tool, something that you can use to make like, let's be honest, all
Yeah,
right? Getting into C and C++ is not easy.
it's
You
not
have
not
to
not not these days. No, you're right. Yeah.
you need to know how you have to know how to install and configure and use your IDE of choice, your tool chain of choice, and once you've got that down, then you got to worry about, well, what standard are you using, all of these things, like, and this takes all of that out of your hands. You could just dive into the code and start working with it. That's basically my motivation behind this.
And I like the fact that it forces you to a single file. You have to think, because it's not for doing massive big personal projects in. It's for just doing little things like this and little hacks. But I personally, one of the things I liked it is exactly for this, for doing streaming and video making where things are exactly next to each other on the screen. I think there's great potential for that. It would I would also potentially like to see in a real futuristic version the ability maybe to change some of the values on the fly, and I might be able to help you with some of that.
What do
So
you
if you
mean by
wanted to,
change some of the
so it
values?
can actually tweak some of these sort of values in real time and see the effects that's going on. I'm not saying that would be sort of on the fly dynamic recompilation. We can do that with some back end trickery and nominated tweakable values. Um, but I've got a whole, I'm growing a whole list of ideas, which.
Yeah. So like that sounds like we're delving away from the subject of C++ and more into like I think that's a problem that this project doesn't solve, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think if you had, for example, the ability to easily throw a slider on the screen or a text box that allows for some text input outside of the PGE, then people can change the values of things that are going on in the PGE, like changing graphs in real time or changing, as I'm experimenting with here, the gravity of something in real time without needing to code that in themselves. That then makes sort of debugging your very simple project quite easy. And I can imagine a situation which is find the optimum gravity to make this work. That sort of puzzle side of it, which is great for learning. It's a simple solution, but it suddenly gives a lot of sort of intuitive
Well,
feel into how you debug your things.
all right. So I mean it sounds simple when when you're talking in the abstract about the idea. I guarantee you that implementing that would be next to impossible.
Well, we can argue about that off stream, and we will. Um, uh,
I mean, if it's something that people want, the people who use the product, the people that support the project, want, then I'll investigate it.
Absolutely. I mean, this is your project, right? So you're drawing the line under what's feasible or not. Out of interest, how many people have used it this evening? Do you have that sort of number available?
So I
Uh,
don't. So because I'm one of those people, so I believe in privacy. All
yeah.
right, I could go on a rant about that, but I don't want to eat up your show talking about that too much. But
No, please do,
because
because I
of
think a
that,
lot of people, and I had privacy concerns about this to begin with.
okay.
Full disclosure there.
Okay, so philosophically, I believe that people have the right to not be tracked, and because of that, I'm not employing any invasive tracking. The one bit of tracking that I do have is from Cloudflare. It's their what do they call it? I forget what they call it. I'm pulling it up right now
Yes,
because I
asking the
want
wrong
to not
guy here.
misquote it. They have what they call web analytics,
Right.
and and it doesn't fingerprint your browser. It doesn't collect any information. It's just very, very rudimentary information. Like I could tell you, like right now, I can tell you that there's been 26 page views in the last 24 hours,
Right.
and from like what country those came from and what pages are visited, and that's it. That's the only information I get from it.
Right.
Um,
So
And
that's
it's
sort
because
of the minimal information you need to. There's like no personal information included in any of that. You're not like looking at
no.
what have I looked at before I've come to your site, for example, that sort of thing.
Right. Now, there's certain things that I could do if I were inclined. For instance, every single time you hit the play button, or the run button rather, that's sending the code to the server to be compiled.
Right.
Now, those files are temporarily saved and run on the compiler,
Yeah.
and I retain them in case of errors so that I can look for potential problems.
Yeah.
But it's not, but like you're already sending somebody your code anyway. Like you're opting in to that transaction, you know?
Yeah.
Aside from that, and I believe there's one cookie that Laravel sets. Laravel is the platform that I use. Um, I could turn it off, but I'm also thinking about using it because I need a way to make sure that only people who are on the site are able to use the LSP.
Yeah.
Because right now, anybody, if they knew the endpoint of the LSP, and it's not hard to find, could just point whatever editor or whatever they want to do, or even try to be malicious to that
Right.
endpoint. But yeah, aside from that, I don't really collect any information. I don't know anything about like if you share a code, like I only know what's in the code. So unless you put all of your personal information, like here's my
Yeah.
address, here's my
Yeah.
phone number,
Exactly.
into
Right.
the code, then nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna need to know. And I'm not going through, well, not currently anyway. I'm not going through the shares to be all like,
Yeah.
what are people coding? I
Oh.
could. In fact, I was thinking about, oh, sorry, while we're on the subject of that, I do keep count of how many times a share is accessed. So if you share something, I keep sort of like an old style page counter.
Yeah. So you can work out sort of the popular shares, I guess, right? So if something's shared, you've got, oh, this has been viewed 1,000 times. This one's only been viewed 10. Why is that? There might be something interesting in that.
Yeah, I figured it might be interesting for something like a showcase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, interesting. Right. So I'm just looking at the chat now because it's difficult sometimes to do sort of chatting and talking and coding. I see Travis is here. Hey, Travis. And Londo's sort of saying it's good that you've put all of this on the GitHub. So,
Yeah, so
and I actually
so
I have go on. Sorry, you talk about the GitHub, and then I have a question about sharing.
yeah, so the GitHub repo is really just, because I needed to have a source of truth, knowing
Yeah.
that I'm not going to lose myself. Like I had something of a something of a mistake happen where I thought I saved the files and I rebooted my system and I came back and like it was when I was doing my compiler abstraction, I lost all of that work because I thought I saved it and I actually didn't apparently. So I've
Did
been
you say
pretty
some naughty
diligent
words?
about yes. um ever since then I've been pretty diligent about making sure that I do everything with Git and making sure that I've got the repo up to date, all of that sort of stuff. Um as far as the GitHub repo, like that's one piece. But like there's like four separate pieces of the PGEtinker project, all of which need to be run in tandem with each other, and none of it's documented. So if you manage to get it up and running locally, I mean,
Yeah.
kudos to you. uh, um, and what was your question?
Well, my question was, if I share this now and somebody else starts editing it, is it some sort of unique fork that they get? Or
So yeah. In fact, if you click share now just to demonstrate it,
yeah, okay. So I'll click share. Hopefully it
um,
compiles.
so if it compiles, then it will take a screenshot of it that will be a part of the embed when you share
All
it.
right. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we'll talk about the technical details of when and how is it and where is it taking the screenshot later.
Sure thing.
Okay, so I copied that, I think, and then if I paste that into the chat, so other people can then go and start monkeying about with the code that I'm writing.
Okay, so just as an exercise, go ahead and navigate to that share in your browser.
Yeah, hang on. So I've opened up another instance. Here we go. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And when you start typing, pay attention to the address bar.
Hello. Okay. I mean, my address bar is just saying PGEtinker.
Yeah. Okay. But before it had the share link.
It did. Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. It had the full link at the top. So this,
Yeah, so
as soon as I've started typing, it's created a new instance.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Because I was a bit worried that sharing and then somebody starts editing my code all over the place. Okay.
No. Like, and once you share something, it's permanent. Like, it's sort of like an immutable thing.
Right. So if okay. So now if I update this now, I'd need to reshare this with another unique URL to say this is the latest version.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Right. Right. I'm going to add some more ball physics to this. My ball physics are not working. They're not bouncing properly, Morris. My balls are not bouncing in the right way.
I mean, you're the expert with ball bouncing.
I do try. Right. So go on, carry on.
And as far as the shared URL is concerned, I've chosen 11 characters very specifically. You as a YouTuber can probably appreciate 11 11 letters and an identifier. I'm nowhere near as big as YouTube, so I think that's going to be enough for
It
unique
should
IDs.
be enough, yeah. I mean, we are going to take over the world with this, right?
Oh yeah,
got to aim high. Right, I've lost my ball. My ball's disappeared off the screen. Why is that? So if I should be able to dodge that one, but when it looks like it works better when I actually hit the obstacles than. I think it's doing it for all platforms, isn't it? I need to do sort of whatever platform is below. Or maybe my collision is just not going to work at all. Is there a ball bouncing algorithm if you catch a cut? No, not yet. Well, if you notice, it's not even a ball, really. It's a point. Look at that. See, it's doing something, but it's just not working at all. So this might be why it's a part 2. Or it might be even easier now. Now I've shared that. If somebody can go in and just sort of, make it all work, and it just makes my life easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, just make sure you share it back.
Right, Morris, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for talking. We're going to let you have a glass of water and a calm down. We had a good run, though. At one point, we had 85 people listening to your dulcet tones talking about PGEtinker. So thank you very much, Morris, and see you around.
Thank you.
Right, that means I can focus on, well, balls. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? So what's going on here? What have I actually hacked in? Well, I've tried to hack in a ball position and velocity very crudely. We'll just restart that. Perhaps Morris can put a restart button at the top as well. Which was trying to detect, but I've got a feeling because it's doing basically all of the platforms simultaneously, this here, if the ball pos is greater than the platform height, then it's kind of in collision there. It's not in collision. You can actually see it, yeah. So this is a really bad way to do this. That's why it's in collision when it's underneath the platforms, and that's why it's just sort of not doing anything at all. Yeah, other things. I mean, we'll do some more PGEtinker streams in the near future, I think. But one of the things that Morris also works on is the sort of the de facto now PegX sound implementation for Pixel Game Engine 2. Everybody's using his stuff. Tinwee123, hello. So let's have a look at trying to improve upon this. We really don't want to be sort of checking the ball against an individual platform. I think we need to be checking the ball against sort of all of the platforms that might exist. I kind of wanted to hack my way through that and see if it would be okay. I think we'd see if the ball is greater than the platform height. That's my condition for checking. But I think we also just need to check Yeah, I don't think there's actually a reasonably easy way to check if the ball is not in context. It's got to have gone through the hole. So we kind of want to work out which platforms are either side of the ball, really, don't we? Before we make these distinctions. Okay, maybe we can, if we just take that outside a little bit. If we take platform height, we take this bit of code out here. Let's just take all of that out for the time being, bring it outside of the loop. What we're trying to achieve here, we've got our spacing, that's fine. We want to work out where is our ball in screen coordinates relative to the platforms that are falling down the screen. So that's our spacing, that's our what platform is the one sort of immediately below where the ball is. I don't think that's easily computable. No, I don't think it is. So we may end up having to use the Geometry 2D library. I watched your regularly. I have a question to learn from this book's audio. Those sort of algorithms, I mean, I've been doing this a long time, so I think basically knowledge I've accumulated over the course of 20 years sort of makes these things come alive. I don't necessarily claim my way is the best way on any of these things. There's just a way I hack out. Integer division of the ball minus current common platform position to get the... Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is there a nice way to do it? Integer division of the ball minus current common platform position to get the current platform to compare to. The trouble is that is the condition of my my collision, which is that's why there's a problem here. So basically I'm in collision with everything there. I want to work out what's the next platform where the ball is. I guess... because I can't check to see is the platform less than the ball, because that is the condition for collision. Yeah, you see what I mean? It's not that easy. So I think what we'll do is we'll throw the geometry library at it. We may as well use it where we've got this nice thing, and sort of just check against every rectangle in the scene. I mean, it's not sort of like it's very many. So let's try that. I'll have to remember how to do this, right? So I've not even used the Geometry Library 2D stuff that much, but we'll see what happens. So let's. I do have some code I could probably bring up to Steel just to sort of expedite this a little bit, but. You have trouble to understand ray collision. It can be a bit tricky, but that video casts out a few rays per corner. But yeah, I'm, at the moment tonight, I'm talking about PGEtinker. By all means, though, jump on the Discord server and ask some questions, and we usually get around to answering them later on. Code reuse is a thing. Right, well, potentially I could load up some code just to sort of steal the syntax and things. So I think let's have a look. Come on, Visual Studio. Oh, we've opened over here. That's right. There it is. Right, where did I create my snooker implementation? Snooker. Snooker is Pixel Game Engine 3, Geometry 2D. Geometry 2D. Right, snooker's got to be in my overall pack of stuff. Right, okay. Pull you up here. And so there's not very exciting stuff happening on the screen at the moment. I'm looking for just something to point me in the right direction of some collision code that we created with the Geometry 2D library. And it's just to save me having to clumsily go through all the autocomplete and things, because I don't want to be here all night. I just need to sort of vaguely familiarize myself with what this code looks like. Okay, so we've got overlaps functions, and that's what we're going to be doing. So if anything, if the ball overlaps with... We'll just do it really simple. Oh, my phone is talking at me. Yeah. It's actually come up with some ball collision stuff on the phone. Right, I'm going to take against edges here, so I'm going to work out the closest point and then do some collision. It's actually, it's proper collision on here. That's what I was trying to avoid, you see. But maybe you're right, code reuse is a thing. Let's start with just doing some simple edge detect of that line, and we'll go from there. So if I'm going to copy that to begin with, and we'll do that with a line, right? So we've drawn everything. We may as well at this point also do the collisions here too, because it's kind of what we were doing up here, but okay. If the utils geometry overlaps, so if we've got the circle, which is our v-ball pos, let me just move that out the way a little bit. V-ball pos. So that's one of the cool things about the PGEtinker is so it pulls in the repo, so all of the PGE utilities and other things are there too. I think Morris has also got some way of hacking in some external files, but I might not be totally accurate on that. And the ball radius was 10, so that's the ball. I'm not checking if it overlaps with another circle. I want to check if it overlaps with a line, and that line is going to be actually these things that we've pulled out here. So let's take those back out, bring them back into here. Right, so if the ball is going to overlap with a line, line presumably needing to be OLC VF2D, 0, 0F. That right? Yeah, comma. Oh no, it's I've got this completely wrong. 0F2. Yeah, we've got that F hole left. Okay, F hole left. No, not yet. No, that's not right. F platform height. F platform height. That's one. No, what was the line construction? Line was these 2 points. Yeah. Okay. VF2D. F hole. That's the first point going to F hole left, comma F platform height. Right. Right. So it's getting a bit clumsy because of the word wrap at this point. So that's why things are looking a bit duplicated. There is no radius on this, so hopefully the brackets are starting to line up. So if we hit the, not quite lining up, there we go. If they hit the, that's where I'm going to flip the ball's velocity. So hopefully the ball should just fall until it overlaps a line. Now, technically we should displace it from overlapping that line, or else we're going to sort of hug onto it. And oscillate back and forth a little bit. Let's take this bit out now. Now that's just one side of the platform as well at the moment. We'll have a look at doing the contact point stuff in a moment, but let's just see if we're even compiling the Geometry 2D library. Right, so we go through the platforms on the right. You see, yep, but the platforms on the left are slowing us down. They're not stopping us because we're sort of hitting the platform and not doing enough to bounce out the way. I don't think we'll be able to solve that just with the overlaps algorithm. It's also the ball, it's the middle of the ball that's doing the thing at the moment. Oh, that one did bounce out the way. Just slow that down a bit. Because it remains in contact, and because if we have something greater than unity, it starts to sort of oscillate with a positive feedback, and that's why it's getting sort of wrapped around what it's trying to do. Well, there we are. So it is actually detecting it. Oh, it did bounce. It's bouncing off one of those. But I think we need to be a little bit more clever here and work out where we've hit, offset our position, and then to take us sort of out of collision, basically, which is F platform height. Do you know what? And I'm going to just minus a little, minus a pixel. just to take us out of collision and then invert the velocity. Oh, okay, we got fell off. We got pulled off the screen, so the collision worked a bit too well. Let's go this way and then this way. Okay. Why is my gravity not taking control? Oh, it is. There we go. That's hugging, but it's not bouncing enough. Same again, we're sort of staying in collision. I'll be tempted. Let's just hard hack that for the time being. Onto this side. Boing. There we go. But gravity needs to take control a little bit quicker than it is doing. Boing. All right. Let's add in the same collision for the other side, so at least we've got a few other things to hit. Told you tonight will be crude because we're just really making this up as we go along. So this was then the line was not this way around. It was F hole right and F screen width. Oh, just screen width. Screen width. That goes all the way across the screen. We do need to have some sort of collision with the edge of the screen as well. Add that in a minute. Yeah, I've not done any sort of oh, got to fail. Not done any kind of checking for the dimensions of the ball just yet. Instead, it's just the point in the middle. There's no ball. Probably because the ball is starting in a platform, which is probably not ideal either. So I'm going to just up the spacing a lot more. And I'm going to set the offset to... we'll get it just so we're not in the middle of the screen. F offset equals 20, just to get us going. Yeah, so we immediately sort of fell foul. It should be minus 20, shouldn't it? Right, so bounce, boing. But it's not, gravity's not taking control fast enough. Boing. Boing. Okay, let's up our gravity. Let's fine tune it a little bit. Offset is moving at 40. Gravity in our game is currently moving at 20. So I guess we want gravity to actually fall faster than the platforms do most of the time. So let's just see what happens. Okay, I can live with it. It's still a bit gluey. I think it's because I've added in sort of a drag coefficient into the vertical velocity, which is causing that problem. And when we're bouncing, I do kind of want it to take some of the energy out of the ball. So that's why I was only bouncing back with half the velocity. Oh, hang on. Because I've stupidly used right click as one of the buttons to implement the physics. So it's left click to move the ball left and right click to move it right. Currently the ball is just a point. And we probably want it so that when the ball is falling like that, below a certain point on the screen, the platforms travel at the same speed. So as gravity is kicked up, we want to sort of progress through the platforms a bit quicker. We'll have a think about that in a minute. Probably best if I actually set these to be even. You can tell this is hacking tonight, can't you? It's good. So we move that out. That's okay. We're not, as I say, we've not checked the displacement of the ball properly yet. We're drawing the ball in the center. That's doing overlap if it was true. I guess it is. Take 10, take the radius of the ball. Where is the ball? Is it ball? I can't even remember. Is the ball sitting on the platform now? Or is it... yeah, it is. Okay. It should be. Nice. That looks a bit too much like it's taking out energy. There's not much bounce going on there. So I think our inversion is too strong. So let's just change that to a 9. It's interesting, these things, how sort of asymptotic they can become in how they feel. It's a good word, that. Channel will pull me up on that later. Okay. So the trick is maybe we need to put in a death condition. So I think the conditions will be if you go off the screen with the ball, then the game has to restart. Thank you, channel. Now, I tell you what we can do is I can share this already. It's compiling. Oh, I didn't put a nice ball in it this time. Now, that's interesting. I naturally went to do Control and C to copy it, and it closes the window, and that's very disorientating. So, Morris, write that one down. So we should put in a death condition, right? If we go off screen. Okay. Physics, physics, physics. We probably want the X and Y sort of friction to be independent too, because I think it's a bit of a hack. How can you tell how we're making this work? So yeah, I'm going to make that independent. So that's the X, and the Y was just always with gravity. I guess it's kind of independent already. So there's only gravity being applied to Y, and X is just something there to slow it down. So if I just make that 0.9, we'll find that it actually becomes perhaps a lot less responsive now. Yes, that's a lot less responsive. Now, if I want to make that friction a bit higher, oh, yeah, I think gravity at the moment is just it's all a bit too floaty. See? So gravity is not quite strong enough. So let's up our gravity. Do you know what? Let's really push the gravity high. And we may need to play with some of the other fields to this. That's better. Okay. Yeah, Annie, that's what we were discussing that as part of the call. I'd need to issue a new link. Should I revise this version? Okay, if the ball starts to fall off the screen at the bottom, I don't want to punish the user. I want the level to catch up. So I think in that instance, the minimum speed at which we travel should be the speed of the ball, right? So f offset is either negated by that, or it's the standard minimum. Ooh. Standard minimum of that. It's the vball_vel dot mag. So if the ball's y velocity hang on, yeah, that's all a mess. That if the y velocity of the ball is greater than that, then that's what we start to move by. Y velocity of the ball's going down. So I think that should mean that the level is always pushing forwards. Oh, I like problems like that. What have I misunderstood there? Is it the other way around? Is it because the velocities are inverted or something strange like that? Let's see what happens. No, I think I had it right. We just need to understand what's going on. Ball velocity y. As the ball is falling, that's the speed we want it to go through the level. Now, when we collided, the minimum... it's because that would be negative. Right, so the... we could take the absolute value of that as a bit of a hack. Right. So when it went negative, then that's why the level went backwards. Oh, hang on, right clicking. Right, so as we start to fall, if we can get this situation to occur. Oh, come back. That's not sped things up, so I've got that wrong. What's standard? It usually has a good solution. Max vball vel.y elapsed time. Well, elapsed time is positive. The ball velocity can, in theory, go in both directions, but I don't think it ever gets faster because it needs to be going basically double the speed of the elapsed time, doesn't it? Can you export the CPP file? And I did. I think that's what download HTML or something does, doesn't it? Okay. Anyway, now what am I doing here? So the offset needs to be set to minimum of v ball y. So so it can't be minimum. Yeah, it has to be maximum at that point. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. So if it's the... Yeah. What? Stop. Right, let's try that again. So let's understand what's going on. So the ball's starting with sort of 0 velocity and it's going to be falling by the elapsed time times 40. I wonder if there's an instance where that sort of spikes and goes a bit weird for like the first frame or something. I think standard is actually correct. Because it's the acceleration. You think we should take? Okay, yeah. I think I'll let you have that one. So that could probably be 40 times elapsed time. Because, yeah, okay, interesting. There we go. So as we start to fall, we match the speed. Now, the trouble is, I've seen because the level is now moving quickly at the same speed at which I hit the objects. It's still not fast enough, right? It's still not moving fast enough to catch up with to keep the ball on the screen at all times. So the bounce needs to be... That's interesting. What's going on there? Let's let me just halve that. Might need a bit of tweaking. Okay. So basically, there should be a point, I suppose, where the ball is just floating in the middle of the screen because it's traveling at the same speed as the platforms. So that situation shouldn't occur, right? Oh, I fell off the side of the screen. Okay, let's add in some death conditions. That's going to do for the time being. So let's add in if let's use the OLC 2D geometry library. Let's do it. Let's do it. This is good. We'll have circle this time. If not overlaps the circle, which is our ball, with OLC utils geom 2D rect float, which is going to be the size of the screen. So 0.0f, 0.0f, comma, OLC. I can just do get screen size, can I? Get screen size, because I think that one's the one that actually returns it as a set of floats. So if we're not in contact with the screen, we die. So let's bool. B death equals true. And we'll add a boolean up here just to track B death. Let's just see where we're at. Could you reduce the namespace? No, it's modern C++. Hashtag include IOStream. Oh, I like that. Hey, David, nice to see you. What is your opinion on reflection in the new standard? I've always felt that if you need reflection in your C++ programming, you've got a bad design. I'm probably wrong or in the minority with that opinion, but there's nothing in C++ which isn't known, right? So if you actually need to, if your program needs to interrogate at runtime what something is, then there's probably a bit of a design smell somewhere. Error, line 9, I've missed a thing. Oh, it's the brackets. Morris is probably tweaking these brackets in real time. That's what's jinxing me up now. There we go. Right, get screen size, brackets. Right, so we need a state to sort of say that we've died. Let's have at the top here. Right. If be death, then we're just going to clear. We shall clear to very dark red and just return true. So it will just basically get stuck in that loop as soon as we die, which might be at the very start of the game. So we need to keep these things on. So do we go off the screen? Yay, death. Okay. Let's try the other side. So it'd be interesting, Morris. Here's another feature. If the application, the source hasn't changed, why does it need to recompile when I click play? Okay, so we got stuck off the top. Let's try and get off this side. Good. I think reflection in lots of like other languages is really valuable. It really is. But in C++, it's like people insist on using sort of standard variant all the time as a way of handling unknown data types. And I think, well, for me, I was just brought up that's a design flaw. If you've got C++ and there's any point you don't know what your program's supposed to be doing, there's something wrong. Okay. So the death is a little bit abrupt. That's fine, given that this is a quick hack. But let's so we've also, it's kind of this nice interesting death that you have to stay sort of surviving long enough on the screen. So if you actually fall off the bottom of the screen, that's also death, which is kind of cool. Okay, so you are actually caching things. Can you make a video about neural networks? Every stream, somebody asks, can you do something about neural networks? The answer is sadly no. I've served my time with neural networks, and I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I'm not doing it again. I have no interest in neural networks. I think they're potently boring things. But I appreciate at the moment they're popular. Can you make more videos about balls? Probably. Hello, by the way, Zaha, tick off. Zaha, tick off. You see, that's the problem, right? Would it reflect? Would it help with something like generic serialization? Well, there's no such thing, right? In C++, it is what it is. That's the beauty of it. That's the power. It's the low-level nature of it. And then suddenly you're throwing in these features, which suddenly can lead to ambiguity and complexity. At least they're optional. So I don't get into a tiz about them because it's optional. Oh, thank you. A grappling hook power-up might be fun. I don't think we'll get to a grappling hook in this one. Let's add the ability to reset at this point. So if we're in death mode, if get mouse 0.b released, we'll do then we'll do a restart. So draw string do 10, 10. Left click to restart. And we should probably display the previous score, shouldn't we? Draw string 10, 30. It's got escape the machine vibes kind of hack to this, I think. Score equals to string n. What did we? Well, what's a string? To string n. Where are we at? I've forgotten what my main variable's called. That's tracking all of this. Starting platform. N starting platform. So draw that. Fine. And here we want to set n starting platform equals 0. We just basically want to set all of our variables back to how it should be. vball pos is that. F offset is -20. What else did we have up here? Death needs to be set to false. And the ball vel and things needs negating. vball vel equals 0 like that, and b death equals false. I think that's everything. Look, so let's just die. Yep, left click to restart. Good. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4. Come on. Oh. Because I had hold of left click. Oh, okay. That's no good. We want to do be pressed then. Because if I've already got hold of it when I go off the screen, I've got to let go of it and click again. Okay. 1. Ah, 4. Okay, so we've got a mechanism of competing now. So I think that's not bad, right? For a quick little hack tonight, let me share that from PGEtinker. Sorry, I paused the chat then. Oh, that's not a good screenshot. Copy. So a big thank you to Morris actually tonight for one coming on stream, which is very brave. And it's different doing this on Discord when there's 5 or 6 people. On this one point I think we had 80-something people looking tonight and listening in. This was PGEtinker. It's been a soft launch tonight, certainly from a one lone coder perspective. it's a tool that allows you to tinker about with Pixel Game Engine applications quite easily and sort of interactively and quick turnaround. It's still a work in progress. It's got a few bugs, which Morris, I know, is going to somehow iron out over the next few weeks, I'm sure. And I think there's a lot of potential with it. So yes, there you go. Thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. I know it's been a bit of a long one. We've hacked something together. Do get on the Discord, and if you hack this or modify it to make it better, or if you actually get a high score that you're proud of, submit it. Other than that, thank you very much everybody. Take care.